The first regarding disposal bin schedule and the passing of Hurricane Erin, I am pleased to announce that the various teams within the ministry were well prepared for the passing of Hurricane Erin last week. The water levels of the pond were down a day in advance, and trench and waterways were cleaned. In addition, the government received the final legal checks, and the sailboat on Simpson Bay was removed in time for the storm. In parts of the Ebenezer Main Trench, which had not been regularly cleaned for years due to damage, and more recently, the hillside collapse, was able to be cleaned, mitigating flood risks for the residents. Thankfully, we were spared the full potential of Hurricane Erin. Though we were spared, a number of things became clear, and some good lessons were learned, especially as it relates to waste collection. I would like to remind the public not to put their trash outside if they miss the last pickup time of their hauler before a storm or hurricane. Trash not only is unsightly, but will become scattered, or even worse, can become a projectile during a storm. I would like to invite all persons to visit my Facebook page and that of the Ministry of Rummy to find a schedule for the big bins that are designated for bulky household items in the various neighborhoods. These have been available since the beginning of August. There is also a schedule that reflects where the bins are that are designated for vegetation and other cleared trees. I'd also like to remind everyone to remain vigilant and to prepare well in advance as more storms are within our region, systems within our region. Finally, regarding the public consultation that I announced last week in press briefing, I'm happy to confirm the location of the public consultation on the landfill, what is commonly referred to as the EDMP, Emergency Debris Management Program, which will take place on September 3rd at the Bel Air Community Center. A gentle reminder, the idea of this consultation is that a summary of the discussion and the next steps will be shared with the public to ensure transparency as St. Martin moves forward towards a cleaner, safer, and more sustainable waste management system. You are, of course, all persons invited to attend in person or via the live stream to share their views, your views, and your concerns. We are, of course, seeking your valuable input at this stage as we work towards a brighter future. It will take all of us. See you on September 3rd.
I want to start off by firstly stating that we are saddened by the loss that occurred yesterday in the government building. My thoughts and prayers are with the family and loved ones as they face this sudden difficult time. And I also want to recognize the compassion and professionalism of those who were present and responded under such challenging circumstances. May the family find strength and comfort in support and prayers that surround them. And may we all as a community continue to show care and respect for one another. As we begin the 2025-2026 academic year, I extend warm wishes to our students, teachers, and school leaders and parents. To our students this year, this is your time. School is not just about lessons, but also about friendship, growth, and building the foundation for your future. Cherish every moment. To our teachers and school managers, thank you for shaping minds and inspiring the next generation. Your work is not easy, but it is priceless. To our parents and guardians, never forget that vital role you play. Education begins at home, and through your guidance and encouragement and example, our children learn that discipline, respect, and effort open doors to many opportunities. Education is the key to breaking barriers, creating possibilities, and building the future of St. Martin. Together as a community, let us nurture that future with hope, strength, and purpose. I wish everyone a safe and successful, inspiring school year ahead. Sualiga Marketplace Update. I would like to provide a brief update on the Marketplace project and in response to the recent commentary in the media. I am pleased to confirm that construction has resumed in full swing and the contractors are actively on site and the project is expected to be completed within 6 to 8 months. I'm also pleased to share that the Royal Caribbean Group has provided their required approvals for the project to move forward, and we thank them for their continued partnership. As you may have noticed, the tarp was taken down just last week in precaution to Hurricane Erin. It has remained down while we continue to monitor the two upcoming systems, and if it is confirmed that they pose no threat to our area, the tarp will be reinstalled immediately. In the meantime, we kindly ask the public for patience and understanding, as there may be some inconvenience in the area while works is ongoing, and vendors will continue to be updated through the WhatsApp group and as previously mentioned. Next, hurricane season reminder. As we all know, June 1st throughout November 30th is the Atlantic hurricane season, and at a time that we are well familiar with, but one that always requires vigilance. Just last week, we were fortunate that Hurricane Erin did not significantly affect us, and we count our blessings. However, as we approach the peak of the season with several systems already being monitored, I want to remind the community of a few key points. When government issues to prepare homes and businesses, this does not automatically mean that businesses must close. The decision to close rests with each business based on what is best for their employees and their operations. If the civil servants are released early, like we did last week, it is to give them time for their families and secure their homes so that they are ready and clear-minded to serve if needed, as most civil servants are often used during this time of preparedness, hurricane. So businesses should not interpret this as a blanket closure order, but formal closure instructions will only come if EOC is activated or an official emergency is declared. So we are not new to this, but preparedness guides from the EOC and the Disaster Management Office continue to provide clear reminders. So as Minister of TIAD, I encourage businesses to review their protocols, communicate with your staff, and be prepared to act should watches or warnings be issued. And also rely on the official government channels for accurate information. Finally, I want to thank the workers and management who went above and beyond this past weekend to assist guests that were stranded due to canceled flights. In particularly, the PGIA team who worked tirelessly with professionalism and care to ensure passengers was taken care of. On behalf of St. Martin, thank you. Staff, stay safe, stay prepared, and let us continue to look out for one another this hurricane season.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
The Ministry of Vromi, Department of Infrastructure Management, together with the Police Department, KPSM, is making changes to traffic on a section of Canagita Street and Manzanella Stake, Phillipsburg. The Canagita Street from the intersection with Percy LaBega Street to Manzanella Stake will now be a one-way street. Inbound traffic can enter Canagita Street from Percy LaBega Street and drive straight ahead or turn left into Manzanella Stake. Outbound traffic leaving town on Canagita Street must make a right turn onto Manzanella Stake. Entry further into the Canagita Street will no longer be permitted. Outbound traffic exiting Manzanella Stake onto Walton Nisbet Road can either make a right or left-hand turn. The Ministry of Vromi, Department of Infrastructure Management, and the Police Department would like to thank the public for their attention to this change. Please follow the new traffic rules and signage and drive safely.
(24/7) TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, Com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Has the ministry assessed and properly restored the police holding cells? What were the findings? That process is ongoing. That was one where the emergency repairs were paid for through BZK. What we've done so far is we fixed the plumbing. There was more remediation done. There was painting done. And right now we're awaiting new toilets. New toilets were ordered in order to change out the toilets because we were having some issues with the plumbing and the way that they work. Sometimes they break. We can't find the parts anymore. So we're also looking to, replace them with toilets that are meant for that type of facility, because you often get individuals held there, of course, destroying the property. So we need to make sure that also, and then ordering spare parts as well, because I've said I don't want that when the toilet breaks, then it's, we can't find the parts, or you have to wait 6 months. And so that is also ongoing. And one of the other things that needs to happen, new mattresses were ordered, and we're in the process of also getting the roof repaired, because there were some roof repairs done as part of the World Bank procedures, but those only covered the building in which staff was housed, because the World Bank could not do anything with a detention facility. So now we're looking to repair the roof over the inmate cells, or that part of the prison, the police cells. Then I have, what about the other civil servants? Do they have the same type of coverage? And that's part of my concern with passing that LB the way that it was, because indeed it was only for the individuals that fall under that rechtspositiebesluit. And I think that, and indeed our staff at the prison do not fall under that, customs, and all the other ones that were mentioned. And I think that that's why we want to sit down and see how we can cover all our justice workers and give them the protection that they deserve based on the level of risk that they have in their job. So that's one of the things that we're looking at then, to do it a little differently. Can the minister provide a clear update on what concrete measures are being taken for the safety of justice employees? That was a very broad one, but I think that insurance is a start. And of course, looking at equipping our staff too with the right gear, with, sometimes we have uniforms falling apart, vests old, all of those things. We're looking at how to implement improving those. And right now I'm also in the middle of getting an assistance request from the Dutch police, the Nederlandse politie, where they'll be providing us with riot gear and uniforms and training for our staff. So that was one that I have been pushing for with them, because even, I would, to give that training to our guys to know how to deal with a riot, and not just our arrest team knows how to arrest somebody. That's a very different situation that if you just have unrest, even when they go into the prison, that's a very different situation than if you're trying to arrest somebody that committed a crime than if you're going in there to try to stabilize a situation. So we're working on all those things and in the finalization phases of getting that, those materials. What are official deadlines for the renewal of contracts of police officers who have already reached the pension age? And aren't we preparing for the next generation to take over? That case is actually one that we are looking at, and to see indeed what is feasible and what type of planning are we doing, and how long do we keep individuals within an organization. So we are looking at this specific case to see what we will do with that one. What steps will be taken to finalize the payouts? So again, for phase one, those payments happen as you get your LBA. Typically with that next payroll, you'll then also get that retroactive payment from 2023 up until the time that you receive the LBA. And then when it comes to phase two, those will be budgeted annually in the budget, and then of course paid out in accordance with the different agreements that were made already on a CCSU level and prior to my tenure. What are the obstacles with the remaining batches, and what is being done? Honestly, I think the obstacles have just been, it's very labor intensive in putting together these batches. We're pulling from so many different places, but right now I think we're progressing nicely and smoothly through the process, and we're doing everything that we can. Whenever we see any potential of a delay, we make sure that we get ahead of that. So I think we have a pretty well-oiled machine going right now, and everything is on track to finish in time. The overviews of the batches per department, the overview I had was until batch 13, but I can get an updated one and send it to Parliament in writing. And then I wasn't too sure I really understood that last question about accountability measures to meet the deadline. But, you know, I will say at least that I have always, you know, prided myself as being a person of my word. And I had this situation recently with staff, you know, where I said, look, we'll get it done for you by this day. And if it's not done by that day, I'll help you myself to write the press release, not a minister full of it. But we didn't have to, and we're progressing through it. But you know, I'm also one, I think we're trying to just be transparent, and I see the importance in this, and I've said it throughout Justice Week as well. We need to also recognize our justice workers in not just words, but actually show them results and show them what they mean to us and that their work matters. So we're definitely staying on top of that deadline and making sure that we meet it. Then MP Otley's questions, or they weren't many questions, there were a lot of statements that I feel like it would be remiss for me not to respond to some of them at least. There was a mention made, you know, that seemed to indicate that the minister was running away from this meeting or didn't see the urgency of it, and I find it important for us to correct that narrative immediately because I think it's a disingenuous and dangerous one. This meeting was called in May, and then indeed I did have some travel to Strasbourg, but when we tried to reschedule this meeting, there was actually the budget debate. And that is why this meeting did not take place then. And following the budget debate, Parliament went on recess and only just reopened this week. So I think that we need to say that it's not that the minister didn't see the urgency in this, but that there were actually matters that were outside the Minister of Justice's control. Then, you know, there was also a statement made that makes it seem as if I didn't tell a true story when it came to the insurance and that it's for our justice workers. But again, the insurance clarification was us looking at broadening that net to actually include more justice workers. And besides that, you know, I've also continued to say whether the insurance is in place or not, if something happens to an officer tomorrow, this government is liable. And whether or not that insurance is there, because the law says the government is responsible for it. The insurance is there to mitigate the minister's risk or the government's risk, the country's risk, should something happen. Should something happen in which something happens to 10 officers at once, how in God's name will we pay their families for that? That is what the insurance is meant for. But it doesn't mean that we are sending our justice workers out on the street in danger and not to be covered. That is absolutely not true. And I also want to make sure that I correct that type of statement as well.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Question 1. What is a community-based approach? This means reducing stigma, promoting early support, and helping people stay connected to their community. For example, neighborhood outreach, training local volunteers to offer support and refer people to services. Example 2, school programs. Equip teachers to spot early signs of distress and provide support. Example 3, faith-based support. Partner with churches to create a safe, judgment-free space. Example 4, workplace wellness. Encourage stress management and access to counseling at work. Example 5, community centers. Host mental wellness days with group talk and basic counseling. The goal is to support people where they are, involve the whole community, and act early. Question 2, when will the National Strategic Health Plan be ready? How far is it currently? Is the draft ready? And has the minister read it or privy any content of what is to come? Madam Chair Lady, this question was also posed by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Ms. Veronica Janssen-Webster. Through you, I would like to request permission to also answer both MPs at this time. Response. The draft mental health strategic plan will be shared with the major stakeholders in 2 weeks and discussed during the scheduled soundboard in October. Once all input has been incorporated, the draft plan will be submitted for approval and further dissemination. Question 3, regarding the monitoring and evaluation framework intended to track the performance and quality of mental health services. Could you please provide an update on when this framework is expected to be finalized and made available for implementation? The 10-year multiple annual strategic plan has not yet been presented to stakeholders for their final input and review. Therefore, an exact date for this process cannot be provided at this time. Once the strategic plan is approved, an implementation plan will follow. However, this framework is an important part of the plan. Question 4, does Turning Point Foundation receive any subsidy from the Ministry of VSA? If not, will that be in the 2025 or 2026 budget? Madam Chair Lady, through you, I would like to make it clear that at this present moment in time, the Turning Point Foundation does not receive any subsidy from the Ministry of VSA, nor was it budgeted in the 2025 budget. We are currently looking into ways of collaboration moving forward. Question 5. Thrimbus is acquiring data from Turning Point. Can it be clarified on what kind of data? Madam Chair Lady, the data will include, among other details, information on age, gender, reason of admission, duration of stay, compliance with treatment, and waiting lists, among other things. Question 6. How many mental health projects did the ministry, how many mental health projects did the minister alluded to in his presentation? What were the dates of these projects? Madam Chair Lady, this question was also posed by the Honourable Member of Parliament, Otley. Through you, I would like to request permission to answer both MPs at this time. There were 17 projects alluded to in my presentation, and these projects are Men's Circle, a VSI-led initiative in December 2024, Men's Health Psychological Assessment Quick Scan, December 24, 2024. Personnel and Organization Quick Scan, December 2024. 4, Suicide Prevention Sessions in collaboration with Victorious Living Foundation, Dr. Cotton, January 2025. Partnership with Men's Mental Health Awareness Foundation, February 2025. 6, Mental Health Soundboard Session, Trimbus on Mental Health, February 2025. 7, Autism Awareness Symposium, organized by Spectrum Support Box, April 2025. VSR Sports Day, February 2025. Mental health sessions for management team, January and April 2025. VSR COVID-19 Appreciation Day, March 2025. Creating a VSR recreation, recovery, and lounge area, ongoing project. Immediate psychological support for VSR staff, April 2025. Online workshop entitled Parenting Through Challenges in Mental Health and Raising Children with Disabilities in collaboration with the Spectrum Support Box, May 2025. Workshop entitled When to Ring the Bell, Supporting Youth Mental Health, May 2025. Interscholastic Spoken Words Competition, organized by Men's Mental Health Awareness Foundation, May 2025. Informative mental health videos, focus group youth, ongoing projects. And last, new songboard sessions with Trimbus on mental health, coming August and September 2025.